Yeah, he just released the new album, The Mutt's Nuts, which is amazing. Really
Thank you,
fucking
appreciate that.
very, very cool album. And you've been doing lots of gigs as well. I think you were at the End of the Road Festival recently, weren't you?
Yeah, and we played Resident in Brighton as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Things.
I was at the End of the Road Festival. I caught a bit of your set at the earlier one.
Oh, nice.
But I didn't know you were doing a secret show later on.
Yeah, I didn't know how secret it was supposed to be, you know.
Yeah. I was only there for the day anyway, so I actually went to bed about 11:30 because I had to get up at 7 the next day to come back to Brighton. But that's the first time I'd seen live music for a year and a half. Proper live music, you know.
Yeah, it's cool. I like End of the Road. It was a good one.
Yeah, I've never been there before. Got some good bands there. Did you get to see anybody else?
I sort of just like milled around and sort of checked a few things out.
So you did the Resident in-store as well, and
Yeah.
I heard that was good. That was fun.
Yeah.
Did you have a full band set up for that?
Yeah, it's proper one. We were gonna do like a stripped back thing, but not really our vibe.
I was going to say, and it
Yeah.
must have been pretty loud in there. Quite a small store, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we're used to like playing like really, really loud, so I guess I don't know. I was like surprised they didn't shut it down because of noise, but you know, it's what it is.
How long's the band been going?
Couple years, like maybe like 6 months before lockdown.
Yeah, and you only did like a small number of shows, didn't you? And released your first album in January of last year, was it?
Yeah. We sort of like played a few shows, released the album, and then went straight into some lockdown. We did a little tour in America, and then went straight into lockdown. So it's just been a funny experience for the band, like in general. But I mean, it is what it is, you know.
Yeah. So what were you guys doing in all that period?
I work as an electrician, so I was just still doing that.
Right.
But then we like recorded the LP2 during the lockdown, you know. So we just kind of thought, like, you know, make hay while the sun shines. Like, if we've all got a bit more time off, then might as well just like try and do something.
Because I think you all work, don't you? You all got other jobs.
Yeah. I was working the whole of, I think, not the first lockdown, but
you weren't allowed to go into people's homes, were you, at the beginning?
I do it on I work on film sets, an electrician on film sets, so okay. I never do house stuff anyway. But
yeah. So what happens now that you're pretty much?
I don't know. The whole thing's like we've been playing in punk bands for a long time, like as individuals, but it's like now we're sort of like stepping into a different world, and it's like all a bit of a learning curve for us. But yeah, I'm just seeing how it goes, taking it day by day, really.
How did this band come together?
Wanted to do something that was more like of a 70s influence type thing. And I think like the more time you spend in a genre and like a subculture, the more you just like think about opening up the blinkers on it and just trying to do some other stuff, you know what I mean? So just sort of came about. I sort of just had a few songs here and there and then did them. I don't know. Wasn't really like a big, people kind of like talk about it like it was like a big plan or something. It was just sort of just things happen, you know?
So you had all those experiences of playing in other bands over the years.
Yeah. And I just thought, I'm going to try and expand my songwriting.
The first album, what was that released on? What label, or did you release it yourself?
Static Shock.
So you got that. Yeah. You got that kind of organised pretty quickly.
I mean, he's like a good friend of mine. Like, I've got to the pub with him. I play in a band with the Chisel with him. Like, you know, we're like good mates. So, you know, he's always there to sort of like help us out, and he was just like amazing with it. And then Partisan sort of picked it up, and then here we are.
It's taken off, and these things kind of happen sometimes, don't they? Unexpectedly. I haven't heard your other bands. I'm sure, you know, they're great as well, but this one has just taken off.
Yeah, I didn't think, I mean, like I was saying to someone else, like, finished the record, Speed Kills, and I sort of just like, yeah, that's good. And then sort of just carried on. Then people were like, you know, people sort of like got really excited about the record. And I was like, well, there you go. You know, because you just sort of, you know, everyone likes to smell their own shit, don't they? So like, if you make something and you think it's really good, it's like, of course, you know, of course you're going to think it's good. Everyone thinks it's good. I mean, their own stuff is good. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, then people sort of like really, really liked it, which was nice. Yeah, I'm not very like, I don't like blowing smoke up shit. You know what I mean? I just think it is what it is and just take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's a good attitude because Things work in mysterious ways, don't they?
Yeah, like I mean, like I mean, like I'm not going to pretend like I knew I had some fucking gold shit on my hand. Like I just sort of like was like, oh, right, this works. You never know, like 'cause whatever like strikes a chord with you might not strike a chord with like the wider population.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously been a kind of an interest in sort of punk music or punk oriented music over the last few years, and I mean, I don't know if you're into, you know, a band like the Chats, for instance. You like them?
Right, yeah.
I mean, when they came to play in Brighton like 3 years ago, and they were playing this tiny venue and never been here before, and it just suddenly they just kind of, yeah, it's like you guys really. It just kind of just took off, you know, just out of the blue.
Yeah.
You know,
I
it's
think
amazing.
people are like sort of getting more and more into the idea of like underground bands and stuff, and I feel like people are checking out stuff more and more than before. You know what I mean? I think people becoming a bit more skeptical of like bigger shit that's going on, and so like, and but therefore by everyone getting into the smallest shit makes that the bigger shit. You know what I mean? It's quite funny, isn't it?
Yeah, people like stuff that's kind of real and it's done for the right
Yeah.
reasons. You know. I don't know how old you are, but what kind of things were you growing up with?
I'm 30, and I mean, my parents would like play me punk music in the house and stuff because they were like punks, soul, reggae, Cajun music, shit like that. And then, you know, as I was getting older, I sort of got into like more of like the American punk stuff, like Negative Approach and things like that. So a lot of the New York stuff, like Sheer Terror and things like that. I tried to listen to as much stuff as possible, you know, because I think like, especially if you're like a musician, like wider the net, bigger the catch type thingy, where you like, the more you listen, the more influence you're gonna have, and the more like influences you can draw on. Even if it's just like from like a musician standpoint, I still want to listen to as much shit as possible, really. Yeah.
I mean, that's what's another interesting thing about the album. It's pretty ferocious, and then suddenly Take Me Home to London comes on, which is a ballady. It's just acoustic guitar, isn't it? And it really breaks it up nicely. But and then I Hate the Radio as well, which has got, you know, different influences in there, which is, yeah, it's just really interesting. And
I wanted to do like a record. I wanted to do a record that was like 3-dimensional, and like, you know, I think sometimes like the sort of like the punk music that I love, sometimes I feel like it's really difficult to make a punk LP, and that's why so many bands like make classic like EPs and they sort of like fall down on like making LPs. And I think it's just because, like, you know, to hold someone's attention for like 13, 14 songs, you gotta like sort of like bring them on a little bit of a journey. You can't just keep it at that 100-mile-an-hour thing.
Yeah, you gotta have some respite every now and then.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously it's just great. It works. It's brilliant. Fantastic.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I Hate the Radio when I first saw that title, because I do a radio show, and I was thinking, oh fuck, am I going to play this one? And then I worked out it's not actually about hating the radio, really. It's about
yeah. A lot of people, they're like, there's a few people being like, whoa, why are they saying I hate the radio? And they're trying to be on Radio 6 or something. It's like, it's not really about that, you know. It's like sort of supposed to be about like a heartbreak with the songs that you listened to when you were in love or, you know, whatever. But I did think it was quite funny after I wrote it. I was like, you know, it'd be quite funny if this gets on the radio, actually.
And it has.
Yeah, so there you go.
Brilliant. Did you have a particular song in mind? Was it based on a particular song, just a sort of general idea?
It was sort of like slightly hypothetical. Just like being like, oh fuck, why are they playing this? And then I just thought, yeah, that's quite an interesting song topic. Like, it's a bit meta, isn't it? Like, you're writing a song about a song.
It's a family affair, isn't it? That one, the video has got something to do with your mum and your sister involved in it.
Yeah, so my sister, she's a camera woman. So I was like, look, I need a video for this, but A, we haven't got a budget, and B, we haven't got a concept. She was like, let's just go in the street and just film stuff. So I was like, all right, cool. And then my mum, like, she knows how to like edit shit together. So I was like, do you want to just do this?
So when do you actually go out on tour? It's not for a while, is it? But you're doing some more dates between now and then?
Yeah, we're doing Shepherd's Bush tomorrow, and then we're doing I think November. We've got a bit of free time in October, and then November it's all go then.
What's it? You're doing a big gig, isn't it? I just can't remember the name of the band you're supporting.
Oh, Biffy Clyro.
Yeah, them. In Cardiff Bay or something like that. Bay.
Yeah. It's like 12,000 people.
Is that
fucking mental?
They're a Welsh band, aren't they? Biffy Clyro.
I think they're Scottish. Actually.
Are they Scottish? Okay. Below the Welsh away, that's for sure.
I was with the promoter yesterday. They were saying that they're playing in Scotland to 40,000 people, 40. I don't even know I can't even fathom how many people that is. You know,
Like a football stadium, isn't it?
yeah, it's like, I think it's literally like a football stadium.
What other festivals have you done this summer?
We did Downloads, Boardmasters, Latitudes, bunch of different ones. It's been good though, man. Like, you know, it's like a lot of these were books like when the band just started. Feels good though, man. Like just finally getting to do it because we've been sort of waiting on them for so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Download was like one of the first ones, wasn't it? Like a government sanctioned kind of festival.
Yeah, it was a government pilot one. Yeah, so
Yeah. How do you feel about going into, sweaty venues and performing and everybody going mental? And
I don't know, because on one hand, like I'm double vaxxed, so I feel pretty good about just doing whatever. But at the same time, like, you know, I mean, people should be testing before they show up to shows for sure, doing all that shit. Like I've got a bunch of lateral flows I just sort of do myself every like, you know, other day or whatever, or, you know, just to double check that I'm all right. Last thing I'd want to do is like go out and just fucking get someone sick. Like, but I mean, I don't know. It's also like it's sort of like the government needs to do more. They keep trying to like put responsibility on the public, but the public don't know. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to know what's going on with the virus? You know, I'm not a Scientologist. I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? So it's like quite a cowardly way of a government dealing with a situation, is just to be like, oh, the responsibility lies on the population. It's like, well, if you're not even going to fucking help us in this time, what's the fucking point of a government?
it's hard to know what to do, isn't it? I mean, it's like, I've been double vaxxed, and I know that I could get ill still. I could still get the virus and get ill, but I'll probably be protected to an extent. But if I don't go out and go to shows or go out in the public, then I'll stay at home, and I don't want to do that. So it's kind of like balancing out a bit of a risk, but I feel like you just got to do it, really. And like you say, you need the government to kind of back you up a little bit, and just.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like they say like, oh yeah, you know, don't go if like, you know, whatever. But then at the same time, they're not gonna like financially like back you up if you fucking, you know, fall down because you can't go to work, or because, you know, whatever. So it's like, you know, you're sort of put in a position where it's like they put the blame on you, and then sort of, you know what I mean? It's like a really weird one. The government is supposed to sort of like tell us what to do in times of crisis, and it's like they tell us what to do when there's no crisis, but then don't tell us what to do when there is one. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
But people are coming out to shows, aren't they? It seems.
Yeah,
they're just going.
There's more of a drop off. Like a lot of sold out shows will look like a third empty, because a lot of people are obviously.
So I just finally coming to Brighton, playing at the Green Door store. You did the Great Escape, didn't you, earlier this year? I think it was online, wasn't it? What was that like?
Sort of. Yeah, I mean, I don't really like doing the online things. Just we're not really like that. We're not really that kind of band. We're like a live band, and I don't feel like that's necessarily like a live thing. It's more of like a showcase of your songs. Yeah. I'm sort of glad that all that shit's over a little bit. Like I had a good time doing it and everything, but I'm sort of glad it's like back to normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sort of back to normal.
Yeah, sort of. Any do you know Brighton well?
Yeah.
You come down here a lot, weekends.
Yeah. I like the clothes shops. I like the fucking secondhand clothes shops, and like it's always a nice day out. You know, like a bit of coffee and.
All right, thanks for taking the time, man, and look
Thank
forward
you.
to seeing you again in Brighton.
Yeah,
all
are
right.
you going to be at the Green Door store?
I'm going to come along, yeah, for sure. Double vaxxed.
Nice one, wicked.
Another test,
Nice.
yeah, I'll be there.
Nice.
All right.
Wicked, man. Cheers.